Got some scrimmage updates, not only from folks that we chatted with that were there at the scrimmage, but also from Mike Norvell. We'll talk about some of those, see what lines up, see what doesn't line up. But MVP of the day, which I think this is probably the most encouraging MVP that you could possibly have in a scrimmage, Richie. It doesn't get any better than hearing that the quarterback position looked really legit. I was told, while the scrimmage was going on, I took my daughter over to the beach volleyball tournament, and I was getting texts from right across the street there that DJ U was absolutely going off. Looked really, really sharp. He made good decisions. His arm is an absolute cannon. No just like crazy, fluky, bad plays. Also made some nice plays with his legs. I will say I always kind of wonder about those because of the green non-contact jerseys. How hard are those defensive ends going after QB1? I don't know. But, again, I was told he made some nice plays with his legs too. All in all, what went from okay, well, he's looking good. He's okay. Good with bad last week to it sounded like he lit the place on fire. Mike Norvell raved about him too. You always have to kind of take what he says with, somewhat measured. I don't want to say a grain of salt, but somewhat measured because, he's not going to just throw people under the bus after a scrimmage or practice. But DJU looked like QB1, and is it too early to start booking flights to Charlotte, Richie? Thoughts on DJ and a really good day out there at the scrimmage yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Florida State's going to be eligible to compete in the ACC championship game. We'll see what happens there. But no, from all accounts, whether it be the people that report on the team or the people that, you talk to, TJ, or we hear from, DJ had a phenomenal scrimmage. And, people were wondering, is Brock Glenn pushing DJ? Is Luke Grimahawk a wild heart or a dark horse? No, DJ is going to start for Florida State. And from what we've all heard, it was a great scrimmage for him. To your point, TJ, he didn't make any of those, WTF plays, right? He checked down when he had to, but he does have a cannon. And I feel like this offense with Mike Norvell and under, Tony Tokar's leadership is built for DJ Uiagalelei. I am so excited to get to Dublin and see him in action in the Garnet and Gold. But yeah, it sounds like he really has, starting to, not fully, but starting to take command of this offense, understanding what Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins want. And it's just really exciting just thinking about it when we're going into this fall when August rolls around. But yeah, I'm excited to see him. Really can't wait for the spring game. I don't know if you're going up, TJ, or not. I'll probably just watch this on TV, but man, I cannot wait to see how he looks with my own eyes, because what we're hearing is amazing and very favorable, but I want to see it first too.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Again, hearing all this secondhand or hearing Mike Norvell talk about it is exciting, and I trust the people that were there. I trust the people we talk with. They told me the good, bad, and the ugly on this scrimmage, on other practices and scrimmages, but it's really excited to hear it.
Yeah.
Because I think we all know, there's a lot of talent on this roster, and I don't, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, and we'll kind of go on to the scrimmage, more notes and stuff, but I think the overall talent is certainly, I'll say, is going to be down a tad, and that's not me being negative, but you're losing a first-round guy in Verse. You're losing a guy who, at his very best, was probably a first-rounder. Keon probably drops to the second round. You're losing another second-rounder in Braden Fisk. You're losing maybe RB1 or RB2 in the entire draft in Trey Benson. You're losing the heart and soul of your team in Jordan Travis. And so, yeah, and then that doesn't even mention Johnny Wilson and Jaheim Bell and other guys that, the corners who were just absolutely lights out. Your linebackers and stuff. So Akeem Dent, who looks like he might get drafted now. So there's a lot of guys there, and I know I'm leaving some out too with Fabo and others, but it seems like the top-end talent might be down, but I think, Richie, we are deeper everywhere except for maybe on the defensive line. I feel like they probably need to go get a little bit more in the portal this next upcoming window, but I think they're deeper everywhere else. I think they are there's just the floor has, the ceiling may have dropped just a tad, right? And that's not a shot at anybody, but you just lost a lot, and they're going to have to prove a lot to me for me to think that the ceiling hasn't dropped. But I think the floor has raised so much with the amount of talent that's been brought in, whether it be through the portal or recruiting classes getting better as they've continued to trend up, that it's, it's not like whoa, Clemson's way ahead of us now anymore. It's like the talent's just there. And if Toa
Yeah.
Philly, I'm sorry, if he's my next point, but if Uiagalelei can lead and be that true QB1, this team's going to be really good this year.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. And I know you said Toffoli's your next point, but you were talking about the defensive line and the depth. Marvin Jones Jr., a guy you missed on out of high school, and now recruiting, finishing second does matter. And I don't even know if Florida State finished second with him. They might have finished third, but he is here. And TJ, just tell me about what you've heard of him this past week or so, because it sounds like he might be the guy that we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, he really stood out. A really good day. He had at least one sack. Norvell referenced one that was really, really sick. It'd be cool to get a video release of it because I've heard it was just like freakish athletic type play that he made. Again, probably not going to be like all the oohs and ahs because you don't actually hit the quarterback on these sacks. But
Yeah.
I think he had 2 on the day based on what I was told. Again, based on non-contact jerseys and who you're up against and how hard the quarterback is going. I mean, those are somewhat skewed to me. I think that, sacks and QB run plays are, I don't know. Let me see it when we get to fall kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think that defensive line, again, I worry about the depth there a little bit. But I mean, Marvin Jones Jr. on one side and Pat Payton on the other side, and in the middle of Farmer and Jackson. That starting 4, I think you could put up against any other starting 4, certainly in the conference, certainly in the state.
Top 5 in the nation.
Yeah,
Top
I was going to
5.
say, it'd be tough for me to say like they're the best starting lineup in the country, like without, we're 2 scrimmages in. But top 5, top 10 in the country, absolutely. And if you're top 5 in the country, you're talking about, teams like Georgia and Alabama and others, like the perennial elites of the country, like going to be up there in that mix as well. But they're going to be really, really good. Now, can they rotate like they did last year? Can they keep guys fresh like they did last year? Well, if they're not as deep, maybe not, right? And that's kind of probably where the concern comes in. But MJJ specifically had a really good day. And you can't teach his freakish athleticism. You can't teach like the way that he can move. But we've done a really good job of developing defensive ends at Florida State through the portal, through high school ranks. I wish we'd recruit a little bit better there for sure. We all have our complaints, but the way that they have recruited out of the portal and then developed guys and then, developed Pat Payton as well. It is really special to watch. And it sounds like Marvin Jones Jr. could be the next up in that group.
Yeah, and going back to who you're on, Lawrence Toafili, sounds like he had a phenomenal day, and he's having a phenomenal spring. I think a lot of us fans, including myself, we get so enamored with a guy like Roydell Williams who comes in from Alabama, and we're like, man, this guy, we got an Alabama running back. Toafili sounds like he might be ready to take that RB1 spot. I'm really excited about him and everybody behind him. But Toafili specifically, his name just keeps popping up time and time again this spring.
Yeah, the phrase that was used to me on Toafili was shot out of a cannon. And he's bigger, he's stronger, he looks more the part. Everybody thinks of Toafili as like this gadget back, who was great, obviously, in Charlotte and is a great change of pace guy. And I don't think anybody means that like as a shot, like, oh yeah, he's your kind of like change of speed back. But nobody wants to be a change of speed back, right? Like nobody wants to be like, nobody likes that title. And so I don't have this. Nobody's told me this. Like I haven't talked with LT9, but I don't be surprised if like his motivation is to be like, well, I'm going to show them that I'm not just this like gadget back. I'm not just this change of pace. Like I can be the running back here at Florida State. And he does. He looks bigger. He looks stronger. His play certainly seems like he's bringing it as well. But yeah, the room overall had a good day. Cam Davis, again.
Yes.
As much as I love Toafili, and I think Roydell Williams is going to have I think Cam's going to be starting by like halfway through this year. Like he is just that insane. And I'd love to be wrong on that just because I know Cam's going to be really good. I'd love for Toafili or Roydell to just be that good that we can't, go away from them. But I really like that room just overall. I think that room is going to be really, really good. But yeah, Toafili stood out and had a really nice day. We'll get right back to the spring scrimmage updates. But first, I want to give some love to my buddy John over at gotspears.com. Right now, he's got 2 deals going on. So No matter what you need, he can get you taken care of. Right now, he's got a deal where you can buy a 6-foot spear and get another for just $75. I will link that in the description. So if there's 2 spears that you need, you're doing an event, you have 2 people you want to buy for, whatever the situation is, buy one, get a second one that's $75. That's half off your second spear. That's the lowest price you'll ever find it. $75 for a 6-foot spear if you buy the first one at full price. Also, a Father's Day deal for you guys as Father's Day is coming up. It is active for the entire month of April. It goes from today until 5/1. It will allow $50 off most spears. Rush options are also available. Make sure you use the code Father's Day 24, Father's Day 24 for $50 off most spears. Again, gotspears.com. My guy John over there does a great job. Make sure that you get yours today and appreciate him for his support.
What a great place to be at. I remember my senior year at Florida State, 2009, where Preston Parker, the phenomenal wide receiver, had to start at running back against Maryland because Antoine Smith was hurt. We had no other options. And we're like, all right, let's get a wide receiver in here. This backfield is loaded. And, typically you want your starting, RB1 to get maybe 15 touches a game. I think you can give everybody, 7 to 10 touches and be very happy with the production. And Mike Norvell has shown, look at the pedigree he has of running backs in the NFL, from Memphis and now from Florida State. With Trey Benson, he's going to be a top 2-round pick. Man, this backfield excites me. But yeah, Cam Davis, he's just built different. He looks like an NFL player today as someone who should be getting ready to go to prom in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, his size and athleticism is ridiculous. Keeping it on the offensive side of the ball, wide receivers had a much better day.
Yep.
Listen, there were some questions about drops last week, and then there were questions on, I don't know, just people saying like wide receiver just was a bad position group for Florida State. And, I got questions about that in the Discord this week. And, this person or that person said the wide receivers are really struggling and we don't have anybody good there. And, I don't know. Obviously got the Destin Hill news this week that he would be missing the rest of spring, hopefully able to make it back by fall camp and then the season. But, yeah, I heard really good things from Benson, who had a touchdown. I heard that Duspan had made some really nice plays. I think Kentron made one really nice play. And then, the rest of the group just kind of was there. And much less drops, much less issues. Drops in the first spring scrimmage of the year, I don't know, just didn't really concern me too much. But it was nice to at least hear that they had a pretty good bounce back day as well.
Yeah, and it sounds like Hakeem is really turning into that guy to, Florida State getting the 5-star wide receivers they've signed in the past that, they haven't quite lived up to that 5-star hype. I think Hakeem has a chance to do that, not just be all ACC, but potentially all American type player. He was not healthy all of last year. If he stays healthy this year, 2024, I think he has a chance to not just be all ACC, but legit all American. He has the size, he has the speed, he has the separation. And then you forget about guys like Ja'Kai Douglas, who's, seems like he's been at Florida State since I was there back in 2009. I just love him. And there is a room, there's a place for him to make an impact in this Florida State offense. I'm really excited about the wide receivers, and you don't have that proven guy. You don't have a Keon Coleman, who everyone knows is going to be a high draft pick in the NFL. You don't have that Johnny Wilson, but man, the potential is through the roof, in my opinion. TJ.
On the defense side of the ball here, I'll throw a bunch at you at one time, and we'll kind of go on. But linebacker play was really good. I heard that Blake had a good day. Sean Murphy is somebody who's really impressing people, and that's a good thing. I think he's kind of a baby DJ Lundy, maybe. Lundy obviously having to step up and be the leader, whether he wants to be or not. But I've heard that he's done a pretty good job in that room as well. He's an athletic freak, and where he is today compared to where he was like 3 years ago is, otherworldly different. The linebacker room really before Tatum got here. So I guess that would have been 2021 was just not great. And, Lundy was there and just kind of was a liability when he was on the field. But what he's done has been really impressive. Pretty good battle going on right now at nickel between Greedy Vance and Earl Little. I expect both of them to play quite a bit this year. And I think that's kind of been fun that a lot of people are telling me like one will make a play and then one will, answer, and then one will, have a mistake and the other, like it's just been a good battle. And, you've gotten, good play out of both those guys. And then again, I mentioned him last week, but I think Devontae Brown is going to play more than people expect. I do think it'll come down to him or Hussey to start opposite of Shaheem. My guy still really likes Brown to end up winning that job, but whether he wins the job or not, I do think he plays quite a bit. And his exact text to me, in quotes, was Brown's going to make people look dumb for questioning Norvell's take. So, which wouldn't be the first time that people questioned a take by Mike Norvell and ended up being proven wrong. So defensively, I'm encouraged. Again, I want to see more defensive line depth. I know this is not a portal or a transfer or a recruiting video. We're talking more about the things that have happened in spring and in the scrimmage specifically, but I am encouraged by the defense, and I think they can still be really good. Do I think they're as good, like top end as last year? Probably not, but I don't know that they necessarily need to be. I think they can still be really, really good this year.
Yeah, I'm loving what we have from this defense and Adam Fuller. A lot of fans, including myself, doubted him early on,
Yeah.
and what he put on the field at the end of last season was, in my opinion, a top 3 defense in the country. And yeah, he had a lot of great pieces, but he's showing he knows how to work with what he has up front. Again, we're not going to beat a dead horse. You'd like to see a little more depth, but what you have to start with, you'd love it. Sean Murphy, I think, is a phenomenal take. You needed somebody at linebacker, and to get him from Alabama was huge. And in the secondary, AZ Thomas, I think, is going to be a potential all ACC guy. I won't say all American just yet, but he's definitely going to be playing on Sundays. You mentioned Conrad Hussey. I just love what this defense has become, what it's coming together. Again, to your point, I'd like to see us do a little better job recruiting these guys out of high school, but through the portal, they have found a way to put together a very talented defense, and one that could be very exciting and will push to be the best defense in the ACC, in my opinion, next year.
Yeah. Jalen Lucas is one more that we didn't mention offensively that Norvell mentioned.
Yeah.
And I was also told that he had a really nice play, kind of an explosive play, where his speed just, does ridiculous things. And so another little late tidbit addition there, but encouraged by the scrimmage. Hopefully it continues on 2 weeks until the spring game. I'll say this, like, we're this far into this video clip that people are watching. I think you guys will give me some grace here. I don't love the way that we do our scrimmages. I don't even know if I'm going or not. I don't love the spring game specifically. I'm sorry, I just don't. I feel like Norvell and the staff use the spring game for what's best for the team. So I don't have a big problem with that. I don't mind it, but I do think that the idea kind of behind a spring game was to use that as kind of like a for the fans thing, like a fan appreciation type thing. And when that was the case, I liked going. Now I don't like the way the spring scrimmages are run. Now I don't mind it if the team is getting better and that's the way they want to focus on things. I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
but it's just not as. It's an 8-hour trip for. I don't want to watch drills. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when it was a 2-hour scrimmage, that's to me is kind of worth the trip. Again, I don't have a problem with Norvell doing it that way. I just rather watch it on TV if that's the way we're going to do it. I don't want to drive 8 hours to watch drills. I don't know. I'm not trying to be negative. If you're close to town, you should go. But to me, it's not. And Florida State's not the only one doing this. A lot of programs are doing this where it's. But I don't know. It's different to me than it used to be. So I'm not as big of a fan of it. I probably won't go.
Yeah, I don't go. It's as simple as that. It's like when I was in school, the spring game when Bobby Bowden was running it back with Jimbo. It was, they basically start the 35-yard line and it was very structured, situational, not very entertaining for the fans. Like, I would go because I could walk literally 5 minutes from my dorm room, but not worth it. But again, if you're in town or within, a 2-hour drive, absolutely go and support it because all this money goes back to the program. Definitely something that I would encourage everyone to do. If you've not been to a spring game, go check it out. But just know it's not going to be, Garnet versus Gold. It's going to be very situational and structured. Yeah. And the good thing about that is, to your point, TJ, Mike Norvell, he is the type of coach, he's going to maximize every minute he has coaching these guys, getting them ready to win a national championship. In Florida State, that is their goal, to win a national title next year. And winning the ACC is the first step to that. So he does not want to just throw away one practice. And you may say, oh, it's just one practice. No, Mike Norvell is the type of man where he says, no, we need every single practice. So I'm okay with whatever he does.
Yeah, I have no problem with it at all. In fact, it saves me money and time and effort.
Yeah.
And I'm old. And so I don't mind it. I'm just not driving up to see the drills, right? Like I guess just so